kind of review songs. I have something to say, and I love them. So I've been listening to a song on repeat recently. I felt like it was like, I commented this too, but I felt like this was the only song that truly got me. At the time I felt like I couldn't open it up to anyone. I'm feeling better, but I was depressed for like 4 or 5 days. Um, I'm finally maybe getting out of it. Who knows? Tomorrow I might be depressed again, but we'll see. Um, but my point is, I'm gonna talk a lot about myself, but that's kind of what reviewing a song is. You give your perspective with your life, your interpretation, whether you try to or not. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna play the acoustic version for the video because it is a lyric video, but I'll show some things for the original video as well. And I like the original version too. I love them both, but I like the original version a little bit better. I'm just saying that because that's the audio you're gonna hear from this review. Anyway, let's dig right into this. Okay, starting off right away, as you see, if you actually, let's just start with the music. It sounds horror. It sounds like horror. A lot of horror themes are from children's stuff because it also sounds like a children's lullaby, but it sounds distorted. So maybe that's there's a metaphor there with he's saying it all started as when he was a kid, because even in the music video you can see he's in a child's room. Maybe that was his room at one point, or maybe that's his son's room or whatever. But I think that's a metaphor. Like, also it sounds off, but not completely. So like, maybe that's like the nuance with, I saw in his recent video about his son that he said he's autistic. Like, he said his son was autistic too, but he said, We Skeem said it himself that he was autistic as well. And I'm autistic as well. But, so like, maybe that's the sound of it sounds a little off. Maybe that means that you feel like you're not quite quote unquote normal. You feel like a little off from the world. Because if you change the pitch just a little bit to that in the start, it would sound a lot more like a children's lullaby, but it's just that little distortion that like just completely like changes everything. So I think that's what he's going for with it. It's a brilliant touch. Let's get started. It was a nice touch that he started breathing, deep breathing. That's something they teach you in therapy. We'll get to that in a second.
Talking to a stranger when my heart first skipped. Paralyzing, dangerous, my whole world flipped. Face going numb as I swerved to the ER. Tripping over concrete as I stumbled from my car. I said, please help me, I think that I am dying. A grown fucking man scared to death and crying. So, two things I want to point out. Firstly, since we're talking about the visuals, let's keep talking about him. I like how he's going in and out of consciousness. Like, I feel like that's like a metaphor to him feeling like he's not 100% there. Like, mentally, he's not 100% there. Obviously, when he wrote this, he was going through a lot, whether he was recounting a time or
if this was recent. So I feel like, he's short-circuiting. He's literally short-circuiting. That's when you feel like he's like shutting down. That's like he made that literal too. Like, so that's a great touch. But the lyrics, I remember I had a breakdown when I was 14. So this just reminds me so much of that time. Um let's just continue with that in mind.
Just there judgmentally, I asked her what is wrong with me. He said you use narcotic. I said, is that some kind of stupid joke?
That's such a bad stereotype for people on the autism spectrum. I know personally, I'd be a millionaire if I could get $1 for every time someone asked me if I was high. I'm bipolar too, so yeah, but with autism, like, when we're really upset, our emotions feel like 3 times someone that's quote unquote normal. So when we're going through a lot, it's looked like as we're being over dramatic or overreacting, and aka that's why he's saying why the doctor asked if he was doing cocaine. So
Enemies of prison said he counted out a dozen. If I went anywhere else, then they would know I had been buzzing.
So the thing is, that's what they did to when I was 14. That's what they did. I was speeding so much. So it was more of a psychosis. I'm sure I was manic or whatever, but it was a psychosis I was going through. That they gave me 800 grams of Seroquel just so I could sleep that night when I went to the mental hospital. So yeah, it's bringing up some dark memories, but it's beautiful because it's bringing up dark memories and I can relate to it.
I asked what they were for, and he just rolled his eyes inside, and I discovered what is wrong with me is only seeing his lies.
Autism, but I talk a lot about it later in the video, so yeah, we're not looked as autistic, so we gotta be lying. So I'm sure he's skeptical about what he's diagnosed as. So I was also like, I was given the medications before I was diagnosed. That's what they do. Like I said, they did it just to calm me down so I could sleep. I was like sleep deprived for 3 months. So that's what they did. They just took a wild guess to see what it was and just gave me medicine, which, I mean, understandably, like, they don't know, like, unless you've been there before in the mental health psych ward, they don't know a thing about you, so they're just guessing at that point. So yeah, they would, they could just like misdiagnose you just so, that's why you get diagnosis sometimes, just so you can take medication. So they'll hit you with something you might not even be, just so you can take the medications. That's a real thing that happens. But yeah.
They say I have anxiety. I'm clinically depressed.
Okay, I want to stop right now and remind you what clinical depression is. That's not just a fancy word he's using, because there's getting sad, then there's mild depression, I'd say more severe depression, and then there's clinical depression. Like, that is like the worst depression you can go through. That is months and months at a time. That is, I do not struggle with that personally. I get depressed because of my bipolar, but it's more for like, maybe like a week. Sometimes it's a couple days, and maybe I was just sad for a couple days, but I don't know. It's hard. For a long time, I didn't like, say I was depressed for a while when I really was, because I just felt like Yeah, I don't know. I just never really called it being depressed. I said, "Oh yeah, I'm just sad," which we'll get to the discussion in a moment later on. But anyway, my point is just it's just we'll continue. So I said I don't struggle with it, but I'm sure I've been clinically depressed a couple times in my life. It's one of those things. I don't have the full diagnosis of, you know, um, I forget what it's called on the top of my head, but um, just that can be a diagnosis. That's how they feel constantly, like pretty much. I don't know. I've never been through it, but I'm just assuming that's like I was. You know what I'm trying to say? I was heavily depressed before, but I don't have the diagnosis for it. That's a whole nother ball of wax that We Skeem has to go through.
There's other terminology, but crazy sounds the best. They tell me to break free, it's all just in my head. Limping with a busted knee, just walk normal instead.
Okay, so he's saying he's being sarcastic here. They're saying crazy is the best. People will, still call you crazy, which is sucks. Also, there is a thing called being legally insane, but I don't think that's what he's going for here. I think he's saying that like the people that don't understand mental health and they'll just call you crazy. I think that's what he's saying. Because he goes with analogy in the next line about just walking normal when you have a busted knee. When you physically have a busted knee and they're asking you to walk normal, that's the same thing as if you're clinically depressed and have anxiety and just to walk to live every day just as much as um you know just as much as someone that doesn't struggle with that. Now, everyone gets depressed, everyone gets that, we all have those emotions, but people with mental health diagnoses have it worse because they have it more often, whatever they're diagnosed with. We'll get to that in a second too. So yeah, it's a great analogy because like a society, jobs always, oh, if you have a broken back, hey, no problem. Hey, take six a couple, maybe I don't know, 6 months to repair your back. Oh, you got clinical depression? You don't get those 6 months. People always say like, "Oh, man up, just get over it." We'll get into that in a second too. I'm always getting ahead of myself with this song, but such a great song. Anyway,
Hey, just take this medicine when you're down in the dumps. Just fuck up, little man, every head gets bumped.
that's what the thing is. Like I said earlier, like that's the difference between being depressed or being sad and then having a diagnosis of manic depressive disorder or clinical depression. That's a huge difference. Like, or if you're even bipolar and you get depressed, that's more than just normal depression. Like, I mean, depending on the situation, I have to get technical because everything I say out my mouth has to be 100%, or I get mad at myself for. But I mean, what I'm trying to say. I always forget what I'm saying, but I think I said my point. Um, yeah, people just tell you just no. It's like it's so hard to find like careers and relationships and stuff like that when you have mental health problems because there's still a lot of people that think like this, which sucks. It's like you think in 2021 people will be more open to mental health, but it still needs a lot of work because yeah, that goes without saying. it can always improve. Improving it is good.
Now you don't need medicine and therapies for junk.
That's a scary. You don't mean medicine and therapies for chumps. You know what happened when I stopped taking my medications? I went into the mental hospital the second time because I thought, oh, I'm feeling better. I don't need to take these medicines anymore. But he's talking about people that are against medications, like, you don't need that. And I think everyone should have a therapist for real. It's someone to talk to. Like, even if you don't even struggle with any, like, even if you don't have any mental health, like, everyone has bad days. Everyone needs someone to talk to. It's like, what happens is, like, the people that act like completely sane and they feel like they don't need any help are the people that probably need it the most, because one day they're gonna snap, or they're gonna just, you know, spiral out of control. Like, I spiraled out of control before, nothing against that, but I'm just saying, usually those people that talk down on, like, getting help for your mental health are the ones that need it the most. I'm I can't assume that for everyone. Like I said earlier, I can't assume, you know, people with bipolar have depression worse than people with just depression or whatever, because every case is different. But anyway. Oh, that's also a good metaphor with every head gets bumped, like physical health. He's going with the physical health analogy too. That's a cool touch.
They tell me just get over it. Just stop being sad. Stop being angry. Stop being bad.
Okay, I commented on this the other day. I'm gonna just reread what I said. Love the song, especially when people tell you try to get over it. Feels like I'm not being listened to. Part of getting better is venting it out, and by people telling you to get over it, not only doesn't work, but makes things worse by feeling invalidated, angry, and betrayed at the person you trusted enough with the information to begin with. Yes, this happened yesterday. Haha. I was just reading it on full. So, yeah, it's like someone in my life understands mental health enough, but she said that, and that just triggered me, because, like, it just reminded me of, I don't know. I don't think it reminded me, but see, there again, overthinking. I have generalized anxiety disorder, so plus autism. I have to say everything correct, correct, correct. Uh, so, um, yeah. Well, I was just saying, like, when she was saying, like, try to get over it, try to feel better, but the way she worded it just, like, threw me, like, made me so mad, and that's not what she was trying to say. So anyway, I also said in the I might as well, while I'm reading comments, I feel like the song is the only thing that understands me right now. I also have high functioning autism, but that self that self identified. For so long I put pressure on myself to be normal, and I'm not hating on the people that told me I could be normal, because I'm not that autistic, because I believed it too. I can't pretend to be normal anymore. So also I was, there people like that were trying to encourage me to say, "Hey, you're not that autistic," but really that was hurting me. And I'm saying this. There's a video I saw that I want to talk about on my third channel. I mean my mental health channel. It's kind of my mental health channel now. It's my backup channel. I post other stuff on it, like, stuff I won't put on this channel. But anyway, it's gonna be on that channel, and I'm gonna link it. And if it's not there yet, that's my bad. But check out the other stuff I talk about on there. And that's the plug. Sorry, I stole that from you, We Skeem. I had to. I'm reviewing your song. I know this is like a big reaction, but I'm going in detail with this. I'm going into everything. Let's get back to it.
Stop freaking out. Just calm down, breathe. Stop speaking out. Subdue the heat.
So yeah, that's something. He'll bring it up a little bit later, but they tell you just to breathe. You know, like when you needed, like when you're all like emotional and you're talking and and then they just tell you to calm down, and that's a huge trigger because it makes you feel like you're not allowed to feel that way. But the people telling you that will tell you to take deep breaths. And I understand that that's to help you process your emotions, but sometimes it can make you feel like, "Oh, you're not even listening to me. You want me to calm down?" It's like, don't you hear me right now? So
Voices and voices from so many people saying I'm broken or lying or evil.
that I love that line. I love that line because now that I know he's also has autism, it's amazing because I feel like so much more connected to him because of my autism. And I feel like this song was about being autistic. He didn't say it outright, but it's just it feels so much cuz people on the spectrum tend to get anxious a lot. I don't have any psychology on that, like psychology books or anything, but I know that from personal experience. I get anxious a lot, and you can also get depressed when you're autistic because you feel like you can't get anywhere. So that's why, like I said, I read earlier about the whole. Sorry, no eye contact. Another autism trait. Look at this autism. Look at this autism. Uh, but no, it's like I self-diagnosed as high functioning, so I put a lot of pressure on myself to try to reach and be normal. It's like I'm not that autistic. I'm almost there. And right now in my life, that's making me so depressed because I know I'm not ready for that yet. Um, so I'm going at a nice gradual pace in getting things in my life, but it's just it's harder for people on the spectrum to move out and be on their own. It really is. Um, if you can give any tips, We Skeem, I appreciate that because yeah, I know you struggle with I do with that. Um, so anyway, what I was saying is though, it's like so again, the people that were encouraging me, and I believed it too, was actually hurting me because, um, you know, trying to reach the top. And going back to his lines, voices and voices from so many people saying that I'm broken, lying, or evil. Broken because you have autism. Some people think it's just I don't like every case is different with autism with the spectrum, but I've heard it all. I've heard it. Oh, you have autism. You're not able to do this, this, and this. And then other people said, so what? You have autism. You can still do this, this, and this. So broken is the people saying I can't do the stuff to make my life better. Lying is the people that say, oh, you're not that autistic. You can do that. Come on, work, work, work. Work, work, work. Come on. Come on. You have a busted knee. Get out there. Run a marathon. Get draft. Get drafted to the military. Yeah, you're ready. I don't know why I chose the military, but and then evil, I feel like evil is like because the stigma against autism for people being lazy, um, it's like because like especially some autistic people like there's no such thing as looking autistic. Like obviously the ones that are more there's some that are more visible and stuff, but like the whole when they got rid of the Asperger thing, like I just it's like that was like a huge help because it kind of differentiated someone that was up here to someone that's down here. And I don't mean that in a mean way. I'm just saying like uh they're someone autistic could be someone that can barely talk and has to wear diapers, and or it could be from someone that works full time and is doing everything else that everyone else is doing. But the thing about, I guess what they call it, high functioning, I don't know how else to say it because I'm just so used to that term, but just people that don't really look it are the ones that are probably struggling the most because they're forced to try to fit in that, normal mode, the whole fit in the try to be normal. um so again, those three lines like just hit so much to me because it's just something I've been struggling with so much, and I can't thank We Skeem enough for making this song. um Again, people saying you're evil, you're taking advantage of your parents not moving out, or you're using that as an excuse. It's like, now don't get me wrong, if you're being a jerk, that's no excuse. You can't say, oh, I have autism, my bad. Like, you know I hate it when people do that. But um i'm ta- I'm talking more of a when someone says like, I don't know. We Scheme also talked about, like, I'm not gonna bring it up entirely, but you'll know what I'm talking about. And he talked about in his song "Broken," so that might be what he's talking about here. I don't know, but I hope not. But anyways, I don't know how else to explain it. Like, evil, you're evil. You're living off your parents. You get a job, you got two busted knees, go run a marathon, analogy, yada yada yada. Anyway.
And then there's the fakers who just like to try and discredit the people who wish we could die.
Definitely hear the emotion there, and I can't take that away from him, and what I'll talk about later in this video. Um, just know that he's valid the way he thinks, but I might slightly disagree with some parts of what he's saying. We'll see. It's coming up. The credit the people that wish. I gotta look up that lyric real quick. I think he's saying discredit the people that wish we could die. Like, I think he's saying that as like the the people that the mental health is so bad that they want to stop living, but that differentiates from the people that are just sad that day, and they make it more huge of a deal than originally. Like, this is one of the lines I originally was like, was kind of mixed on because like everyone's valid with their emotions, but for the people, in my opinion, but also I feel like, yeah, people can be too, you know, like people that actually, only are sad for, 4 hours and say they're depressed. I don't know. Like, I get it. I'm sure it makes We Scheme feel invalidated. This is just the one thing that I wanted to talk about. This is the one thing I have anything a differentiating opinion on. Just this is one thing, We Scheme. Forgive me. But I understand each way. Like, it's like, so it can kind of go both ways where it's like you don't want to like invalidate other people's emotions, but also I understand the anger with that if someone uses suicide in a relationship to keep their wife in the relationship with them, it makes mental health look bad. I understand that point. Obviously, it's different if you're feeling that way, actually feeling that way, but I'm talking about faking suicide to keep people's partners, because that makes me really mad. So yeah, it's the people that fake feeling like that just to stay in a relationship or manipulate the people around them. That's not cool. So, but let me look up the lyrics real quick on your acoustic version.
So I've got my.
Whenever I say version, I accidentally say virgin. Um, speech impediment. Thanks, autism. It's not too bad. I went to speech therapy, but it was not bad. The people who wish we could. Yeah, that's what he's saying. So, this kind of reminds me of that one line on his other song. This is worded a lot better than the other one, in my opinion. Might as well say it. We Skeem knows if people disagree. That's it's like people disagree all the time. So, like, he understands. I saw one video about him saying about that. But where was that? What was that? Something about saying you're just a bitch, my dude, to someone that's talking about suicide. Like, that's kind of like this kind of the same thing for here, only that's like as more a nuance, because I can understand why We Skeem would be like, there's, he's talked about knowing someone that actually committed suicide and didn't even talk about it and just held it in for so long and no one knew. So, like, it's one of those situations, like, yeah, I mean, he could just be, it's good that he's reaching out, in my opinion. Like, when people complain about stuff, even if it's over exaggerated, I'm glad they're talking about it because they're getting it out and talking to someone with it. But I can also see why We Skeem would be frustrated too, because that's his friend and he's threatening his life and stuff. So, I mean, I need to save this for another video, but long story short, I actually did kind of talk about it already on a top 10 list. Anyway, but yeah, I mean, it's one of those situations where I feel too much for people and I'm probably too naive. But I just feel for people if they're upset. I feel like they should be validated either way. And I understand, like, you never, especially with the suicide thing, you never know. Like, that guy could actually be suicidal and he's opening up to you. I don't know the situation, so maybe I shouldn't say that. But, yeah. Anyway, this is what I think. We can't be shown through your great intervention. I'm even doing the other version.
Thoughts aren't our own, we don't plead for attention, and we can't be shown through your great intervention.
We can't be shown in your great intervention. I thought that said free before saying greed. Gotta think about that. We don't bleed for attention. So, okay, that's what, if I would have just kept listening, that's what he's talking about. Duh. Alright. Autism speaks. I probably shouldn't say that as a joke, but I think it's funny. My autism spoke. Anyway, yeah, one of those. It sucks. Obviously people need help if they're cutting themselves. I feel bad for that, but also I can understand his point of view where, why are they posting it? Like, people that posted their cut wrists, like, on social media and stuff. It could be attention, but also they could need help too. So it's one of those things. Is like, I never want to discredit someone if they're going through something. If someone's cutting themselves, in and of itself, they still need help, whether it's for attention or not. So it's one of those things, because you never know. That's I don't want to talk in depth on how to, how suicide works and stuff, so I'm not going to get into that. But I mean, there's a, I might have to cut this out of the video. Cut. Get it? Cut. We're talking about cutting. Uh, okay, let's just leave it at that. We're good. I apologize. I wasn't trying to be insensitive there. I have a dark sense of humor. Like I truly do feel for people that struggle with self harm. It's it's one of those things where it could be a cry out for help. You know, like you know, it's like I was just saying. But I'm one of those people that can laugh during serious situations just to make myself feel better. Laughter is the best medicine. So I understand if someone like kind of threw some people off, but I truly didn't mean any harm by that joke. Anyway, I'm probably overthinking it. Thanks, anxiety.
Overdiagnosed and improperly treated. Before I even thought I was already defeated.
That's exactly what autism is like, because it took so many angles to get to where I was. I still think I'm still bipolar, but they didn't know what it was for so, like, I got diagnosed with, it was called generalized anxiety disorder. Is now it's generalized. They changed the wording of it, but I meant to say general anxiety disorder. Yeah, they added the D to it, I think. That's what she said. I still was diagnosed in fourth grade with anxiety. So there was the anxiety, then the bipolar, um, and then autism was around 17. I got diagnosed. So it's like it took a while. I got ADD attentive in there, I think at 16. So it took a long time to figure out, oh, you have autism. So yeah, imagine being told uh, you know like treated like a neurotypical person. That's something that frustrates me the most. Like when people don't know you have autism and you're treated like a like. I know this is gonna sound wrong when I say it. Treated like a normal person. It's like it's one of those things. It's like you feel like this review is taken. Is this relevant? What I'm talking about? He's talking about being wrongly diagnosed. I'm already talking about it. So yeah, it's one of those things like with like being treated normally or normal, not seeing the problem from earlier. Anyway, let's continue.
They say I have anxiety, I'm clinically depressed. There's other terminology with the busted in the tongues. Just medicine and therapies for chum, and every head gets bounced. Today was depraved, I panicked again. They told me.
So he was talking about something about greed. I forget. Your greed intervention. So maybe he's saying people are making money off of mental health. I don't know what that means. If you're watching this scheme, let me know. This goes back earlier when he talked about greed intervention. Like he could be talking about mental, like in the mental hospital. He could be talking about just getting a diagnosis in a psychology office or with a therapist, anything like that. Because We Skeem's talked about in the past, he's had bad experiences with that. So I looked up what depraved means, and it means morally corrupt or wicked. So he's saying that in his experiences, mental health is corrupt. Mental health, the places he's been mental health wise, professionally anyway. And I hope you found some place better if that's what you're talking about, because there are so many great therapists that you can find. It's just finding the right one. So anyway, I'm sure this wasn't a dark place where, yeah, the therapist from the Broken story, that might be what he's talking about here. So Broken song, yeah. Anyway, but anyway.
It was depraved, I panicked again. They told me be brave and just be a man.
So Yeah, that's the saying that needs to die. Man up. What does that mean to be a man, really? Man up, you gotta be a man. Gotta be a man. Got gotta get a career, get a degree, get a family, then die when you're 80, and you just it's like that's like anyway that's like what normal people do. That's what a man. No, that's not what a man does. A man takes care of their mental health for and foremost, because when you take care of your mental health, the right life will greet you, and then they can see how much of a man you are. That you said, no, I am depressed. I'm not gonna do that if I cannot handle it. That's what a true man does.
I panicked again. They told me be brave and just be a man. I think we have an agreement and you'll understand as I holster this justice in my shaky hand.
So, I think this is like another analogy to like physical versus mental, but also I think he's talking about getting revenge on these people, like not metaphorically. No, metaphorically, yeah. He's talking about suicide. Why did I notice that? When you're holding up a gun to your head, you shake it, because you're, you know, like, we're all scared of the unknown, whether you believe in heaven or hell or whatever. We all fear what's going to happen next. So, or what you're going to leave behind. So, one of those things. I don't want to get into the nitty gritty of it, but that's what it means. So, yeah, I'm going to have to change a lot of what I said, but at least this is two ways of looking at the song. I take it when he says justice, he's saying, you know, I'll show you or whatever. So, when I think about suicide, I get kind of, well, I'll show you. I kind of get in that revenge, like, I'll show you, or like it's a really scary mindset to have. Like, I'm usually not suicidal, but I kind of, when I'm thinking about it, that's kind of what I think. So, because when someone is suicidal, they would have a gun up to their head, like We Skeem is saying in this. I hope this wasn't a true story. Either way, I'm glad you're still here, We Skeem. So, yeah, definitely. When We Skeem said your head, I thought he was literally saying it to whoever he's talking to, but no, he's literally talking to himself. This part is about, it is when it's too late. I think this is whole metaphor to when it's too late to someone that struggles with mental health, to the point where they get to the point where they end their lives. And We Skeem saying it's important to talk about mental health before it gets there. I say, if he's not saying that, I'm saying it, but I'm sure that's what he's saying. I'm just, you know what I mean. So, just a few bullets right through your brain. So that's the metaphor. Like, you feel like you're just, you already feel like you're dead mentally. So when you feel like you're dead physically, like, that's kind of what he's trying to say. Like, it's only a few bullets in your head, you'll survive. It's like, no, that's pretty severe to have 3 bullets. I mean, unless you're like 50 Cent and you're just invisible, could get like shot 9 times and still survive. Like, that's a danger.
Don't act so insane, just stop being dead. Every head gets bumps, isn't that what you said?
I love the anger and sadness in that, like, just like, I didn't truly hear like his pain until like I heard him in a car, and it's like I'm like, whoa, like his pain really comes out there. It's, I don't know, it's just one of those small details I wanted to point out. It's it's like you can just feel his pain. I felt his pain when he said that. Wow. Just give me goosebumps because I realized what this verse was about. I realized he's saying he was playing on earlier from like when the therapist or whoever was telling him to breathe, but this means literally, because at this point I'm assuming he actually shot, like in this scenario anyway, he shot himself. And they're asking me, you can't hear me right now, just focus on breathing, focus on like staying alive. Maybe as a paramedic or something like that. That is such brilliant. I just realized, so that's crazy. And like I said, the ones where I'm just, laughing a little bit, I in the reactions, I'm sure you already know this, but just another disclaimer. That was before I knew it was about him, the We Skeem, like, committing suicide in this song. And again, I hope this was just a hypothetical and this didn't actually happen. Or I'm hoping it's an over exaggeration, and I hope like the scenario never happened. Yeah. that's what I said we'll talk about earlier. That's what I meant, because he's like, oh, you can't hear me because you're because you told me to keep focus on breathing. That's exactly what happens. Like, I mean, it sounds like it's a bad therapist. Well, obviously, I mean, I heard a song Broken, so I was a bad therapist. We Skeem is talking about is so hard to tell with someone that's autistic what their emotions are. It's so hard for people to tell, like, when I'm being serious, people think I'm being sarcastic. When I'm being sarcastic, people think I'm serious. It's one of those things where it's hard to express my emotions just as much as it's to read other people's emotions. I looked up what seething means. It means filled with or characterized by intense but unexpressed anger. I see a lot of that in We Skeem videos where he'll get angry and he'll smile, but really he's angry. That's an angry, repressed anger smile.
Fun fact to anyone that I triggered during this video, Tom and I's political views are probably more closely aligned than your and Tom's political views. Just let that sink in.
That's not a real smile. That's like a, when you're really mad, but you feel like you can't express it, so you just kind of bottle it in, and then you end up smiling. So I don't know why he's talking about a cell. Maybe he's talking about he was in a mental hospital. That would make a lot of sense, because mental health, like, mental hospitals are awful with making people feel better. If someone wants to die, so I'm hoping that this wasn't a suicide attempt by We Skeem. But what I'm trying to say is, mental health is mental health, mental hospitals. There's some mental hospitals I heard that actually are open. You can play basketball, chill out. Like, it's kind of like a hotel, and that's where mental health needs to go. But have it secure enough, like, have like enough room where you could just go outside Of course, there's a fence and you can't get out. Obviously, if you're a threat to yourself or others, you need that. But it's just a fact that, like, mental hospitals are so similar to being in prison. It's like I've been in a mental hospital 6 times, and it just makes me more depressed being in there. And it's just that's why nowadays I try to refuse to go in them at all costs. That's like the last resort for me because I know that it's going to be awful. Like put everyone that's struggling in the surrounding areas into one room together. That's everyone's going to drive each other crazy, even more crazy. It's awful. So like have an actual place where people can chill out and just get away from stuff. I'm sure more people would want to just go to the mental hospital. But hey, that's gonna happen. If something's that good, don't take away something good just because some bad things happen to it. So again, I keep saying it, but I'm glad you're okay, We Skeem. So I guess this is like he said something about being in a jail cell, but so I he's just taking you back to reality here. I kind of like this, like in a song like this when you're like losing your mind, to like when people like you don't know what fantasy and what's your reality. Like I like both. I like straightforward, but also like I like songs that's like, well, is this real? Is this fake? What's going on here? It's like just taking you in the mind of someone that's not doing well mentally.
I thought it was all in my head. I guess if it was, then no one's really dead.
Again, that's just an extreme metaphor. Like, if he's saying if mental health isn't real, if anxiety and clinical depression aren't real, then people dying from suicide isn't real. That's a good point there. So that's what he's saying. I guess, yeah. I guess that's telling a story about a man who killed a killed a man. He told the judge, he's like, "Hey, I'm already dead." Wait, not already dead. Crap. That's not. I wasn't trying. I was like, it's 1:40 in the morning. Give me a break. I wasn't trying to be insensitive there.
Was that no one's really dead?
No one's really dead. Yeah, that's what I meant to say. Judge, no one's really dead here. So, it's all in my head. Then I never killed someone, and he just gets out of jail free. It's like, like that would never happen. But that's like the so creative metaphor, such a creative metaphor. And he lets the music to breathe here, to like just to build up a little bit of a like after all that, just to let that sink in to people. That's kind of what musicians do when they want people to like really think about the last lyrics. They just let the music play a little bit. That kind of lets people realize what just happened, or like just a dramatic ending.
They say I have anxiety, I'm clinically depressed. There's other terminology, but crazy sound.
I think he actually re-recorded this part. It sounds like, which is like he sounds more faint and just mentally drained in this. That was a great touch, because he could have kept the other, just kept it in there. I'm noticing everything. I hope I'm noticing everything. I know that's impossible, but I'm trying.
Sounds the best. They tell me to break free. It's all just in my head.
Yeah, just break free. It's all in your head. It's all in your head. Yeah, totally. Mental health doesn't exist.
Being with a busted knee, just walk normal instead.
So I like this at the end where he just completely disappears. I think that's a metaphor to like he just completely mentally drains to the point where like either he dies because he just I don't know, or he feels like he's not there, like he's complete, like he's okay. No, this is the metaphor. All right, I just thought of this. Yeah, the ending is like when he has just a little bit of sanity left, and then when it's out. You know, earlier I was talking about he was going in and out in the video, which like because when you go in and like you're glitching out, like you're not there mentally or physically. Wow, that's a great connection there too. Like I didn't think about that. He's talking about physically and mentally throughout this video, and he was showing that with the with that with the you know, the music video. But there's one thing I was like, if he is just, you know, glitching out, he's when he disappears, that means he's not there mentally anymore. He just goes completely insane. We Skeem in this song, since I know the context of the suicide in the third verse, I have assumed that he's physically disappearing. That's the metaphor. Like when he disappears, he's not really there anymore. Like, because when you pass away, you're not there anymore, physically at least. But yeah, it's, and also that thing he had at the end of the lyric video I want to talk about. So it says, most people are normal, a personality quirk, and an actual abnormal personality are not the same. That is 100% true. Some people say, like, because of their depression, or not their depression, because they're, you know, saying like, oh, I can't find anything, I'm so OCD, or like just playing light on mental health. I'm sure it's frustrating him. I don't get too mad about it, but that's just me. I understand, like, if it's causing like some sort of like misinformation about mental health altogether, then that is, I should be more concerned about it. But the idea that no one is really normal is a good spirited attempt at empathy, but is grossly misguided in perpetuating social mishandling of mental illness. Also, categorically inaccurate statement. Yeah, because it devalues people that go through mental health and autism. Straight up, he said that so well. Don't downplay mental illness or social enormities. Yep. So, and I like the music. I'll let it play. That gave me goosebumps. Oh man, this song hits different. 1:45 in the morning. Oh boy, that is like when you're just completely just depressed, like you like feel like you've given up hope. It felt like a horror film because now that I know it's about suicide and the metaphor is him being gone, felt like an irreversible dread in your stomach, like people that were friends and family members of the people who took their own lives. Yeah, that's probably why I got goosebumps, and I had no idea earlier. I feel like that's what the music sounded like on in this like dun like like kind of like a dun dun dun, but more like a and that silence, a few seconds of silence too at the end lets that settle in, like whew, like silence can also mean nothing, and when people are really sad and depressed during the night and they hear nothing, it scares them, because that's when all their thoughts come out and their anxiety and mental health and stuff. So just felt like it was another good metaphor of like either depression of losing a loved one, or just you could even say, if I don't know what We Skeem is, but atheists believe that there's nothing after when you pass away, and it's a black screen too. So it's like I don't know what his religion is, or if he has one, but that's a great analogy for that too. Oof, just felt like nothing, just numb, completely numb. That's what I was trying to say. Probably felt completely numb. But anyway, if you're watching this We Skeem, let me know how close I was to it. I absolutely love this song. It was helping me through my depression. It explains what I was going through so well with my autism. Please support We Skeem. I'll put his channel in the description. Please go give him a subscribe. This review was almost 47 minutes long.
Nope.
But I think that's everything. Before I go, if you enjoyed, please leave a like and subscribe if you're new. Yeah. And I'll see you when you watch me again, metaphorically.